Take a wild guess as to what you think this picture shows, and comment it because viewer engagement, yay. The correct answer is that this is a picture of France taken from a plane through a pair of binoculars, and somehow that makes it look very much like a planet. But I mean, technically it is a planet. It's Earth, and that just so happens to be the planet we're going to be building in today's episode of Tower of the Planets. I took this photo on a trip to Italy in summer 2023, and on this trip I also took this picture, which you may recognize from the Alps comics and from Tower of Live Reactions. And also on this trip, I visited one of the wonders of the world, the Colosseum. Now there's like 40 wonders of the world, even though there's supposed to be 7, so let me explain. There's the 7 wonders of the ancient world, which are all gone except the Great Pyramids, because they all got destroyed. There's the new 7 wonders of the world, which is also just called the 7 wonders of the world. These ones all still exist. And there's the 7 wonders of the natural world. Today we're going to be focusing on the new 7 wonders of the world, which I'll just be calling the 7 wonders of the world. And for the Earth floor of Tower of the Planets, you're going to go to all 7 of these and do something at each one. This idea for the floor comes from 2 different comments. One of them says, you should make the Earth floor about visiting popular landmarks, such as the 7 wonders of the world, and at the end you go to the moon. This other comment says, it's a button hunt to gather stuff from all 7 wonders of the world to land on Mars. So yeah, 2 people suggested this, and I liked the idea, so that's what it's going to be. Originally, the floor was going to be like 2 sides, and one of them was going to be like nature, and one of them was going to be like a city or something. But that's boring, and this isn't boring. And I guess it's also worth mentioning that at the end of this floor, you'll go to the moon as well. It'll be a floor extension, but that's in quotes because there's no frame, so like, whatever. Alright, so I think it makes the most sense that you'll play through each of these 7 wonders of the world based on the order they were built, so like from longest ago built to most recently built. So that order would go Great Wall of China, Petra, Colosseum, Chichen, Itza, Machu Picchu, Taj Mahal, and Christ the Redeemer, which is the order I've had them listed each time I've listed them on screen this whole video. Right here, I've gone ahead and placed like each of these boxes where all 7 of them are going to be. Now for each of these, I could make like an entire section as long as like each of these floors so far, but then the Earth floor would be like 7 times the length of these, and that wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. Instead, most of them are this size, about 50 by 50 studs. These 2 are slightly different sizes, and this one's larger, but still will be about the same length of gameplay. Because this one is Machu Picchu, and that's like on top of a mountain. Well, I guess so is this one, the first one we're going to be building, which is the Great Wall of China. I've also put all these signs here that sort of tell you, like, what it is. The oldest of the 7 wonders of the world, the Great Wall of China, from 700 BC, spans across Eastern Asia. It's about 1.3 tridecillion plank lengths long. What's a meter? This is the first of several obscure allusions of this floor. This particular one alludes to this part of the Alps comics. Sort of. I don't know. Whatever. That's why I'm telling you what it is. Instead of just saying, figure it out. Actually, the Great Wall of China goes across mountains as well. But it's going to be at a much smaller scale than Machu Picchu will be. Speaking of scale, I kind of based them off of the Statue of Liberty floor from Steeple of New York Adventures from Obby Creator, since that seemed to work well in a 30 by 30 box. But these are slightly larger than that. And actually, I'll probably end up resizing these boxes a little bit as I build each one of these. But let's get started with the Great Wall of China. Okay, so I copied and pasted the walls. I'll change the color in a second. And yeah, I'll make it like go this way and then like turn as the mountain turns. I should set it to rotate at a certain angle. We'll go like this much. Those 30 degrees. Actually, it doesn't even matter because I can just duplicate it and then move it over. Okay, this looks pretty good so far. Now I can make it look even better by adding the thingies. You know, the thingies. There we go. That looks much better. Actually, I can add more to this. Okay, so I've taken out an area. 12 studs is this length here. But this way, it's not 12 studs, it's 10 studs. So if I have snap grid 1 and then control scale that way, there we go. Now it's a square. I think it needs to be a little more than that. We'll go 16, so I need to go 16 over here. So I can delete those. I'm adding like those thingies that are every now and then on the Great Wall of China. They look something like that. Alright, that's pretty good. And you'll like go up this way to get like a button or something. Alright, and there we go. I think we're ready to begin building some gameplay. Now, again, talking about scale for a second, you can like just jump up here. What I'm going to do is just place like a bunch of invisible walls to prevent you from taking obvious shortcuts like that. I also need to make the ceiling a little bit higher. Or the sky. If anyone asks, this is the sky. Well, I mean, the point of this is that you can kind of just walk across the whole thing. So that's kind of annoying for deciding how I'm going to build gameplay. But I'm just going to make it so that arrows direct you to go somewhere. I think I'll have it so you go like around this way, and then you go through here, and then like up this way to a teleporter or something, but still with those invisible barriers preventing you from taking obvious shortcuts. Oh, and by the way, if you fall, you'll get teleported back to here. I put the teleporter in, but then I knew it would be really annoying because it would be constantly getting in the way, so I just moved it 100 studs this way. I'll move it back at the end. Okay, I've built the first half of this side, I guess. So you go around this way, and then you'll go on to here. And here, I want it to be a thing where you have to find the button that opens this. There'll be a bunch like lined up along here and here. Should be pretty simple to make. I've already put this here as button activated platform. I do need to give it a bool value called invert though. That way it's a button deactivated platform. And I want each of these to be like a stud only. Wait, wouldn't it be smarter just to select the whole model and then scale it that way? There, that was much easier than what I was about to try and do. So where do I want to put the correct one? Let's go with right there. Now I want to duplicate this and move it over here. Take this one and change one of these RGB values by 1 so it's a slightly different color, which it's highly unlikely you'll be able to notice. You'll have to find this one, which will open that. The one that is not the same color is the one I want to duplicate. So like pressing the ones over here, they do not do anything. Oh, they just disappear. Wait, they all disappeared. What? Well, at least that button works. Well, okay, honestly, I can't be bothered to make them all be slightly different colors from each other. And the fact that they're buttons, like, that can actually be pressed, even if they don't activate anything, that's still something the game has to process. So I may as well just duplicate this and put it in the same positions. But instead of being in the buttons folder, I will put it in the obby folder. Now I can just delete all these things that are necessary for the button to work, since I don't need it to work. This will make it so it can't actually be pressed, but honestly I think I'm okay with that. So delete everything but the button part, these decals, and the base part. And since this isn't actually a button, that means I can in fact make it the same exact color. Now, even if you can distinguish slightly different colors, that's not gonna help you here. Right, so now going over here, you can't even press these, but you can press that one and it'll open that. I don't know if there's anything I can do about the button just completely disappearing. What's happening is it's just like moving down the normal amount it would, like if it were a regular button, which here happens to be like 3 times the size of the button itself. I don't know if there's a way I can change that. But there, that would open that, and then you could go up here, and then I'll build some more parkour leading to the end of the side. So this side is going to end with a teleporter like that, which will take you to the next one. Welcome to Petra, 312 BC, the archaeological city in Jordan. Solve 3 puzzles in order to collect the keys to the final puzzle through this door. Okay, so this wonder of the world, it's like buildings like carved into rock mountains that are like this color. And so this is going to be a key door, actually 3 key doors in the same position. And you need to go to each of these other 3 areas, which will be different rooms, where you have to solve a puzzle in order to get one of the 3 keys to get through here. This isn't actually the first time I used the key mechanic. I mean, it is that you've seen, but off camera, over here on Mercury Side B, which I'm still working on, by the way, you'll use this ice pick, which is temporarily there, but will later be like over there somewhere, so that you actually have a reason to do this gameplay here. And you use that to get rid of this ice here in order to press the button, which currently does nothing. But yeah, basically I figured out how to use the key doors. Okay, so I'm gonna try and build like the front of like a building that looks cool, but made of parts. Well, I suppose it's much easier for me than people who built the city, because I'm sitting in a chair in my house at a computer building it. But also that I'm like adding stuff instead of starting with the mountain and then taking away stuff. I mean, I've never sculpted anything, but I imagine that's more difficult than adding things. I won't put any, like, statues of anything specific, but I will put, like, arches. To make an arch, I could, like, take smooth plastic like this. I can't really make it studs, because this side of this thing would be not studs. So I'll just make the whole thing be not studs. There would be a little bit of Z-fighting, but it's smooth plastic, so, like, the whole texture is just one color. So it won't do that. If I had decided to make it be the plastic texture though, I could like union these, I guess, which basically like merges 2 or more parts into one part. I'm gonna mix in some other shades of this color as well. And yeah, I guess with adding design to this, there's not really any right or wrong way to do this, you know? I just added some things there, and now that looks even better. Yeah, that's how I'll detail things here, but I can't be bothered to do that right now, any more than I already have. Alright, off camera, I built the 3 puzzles. I'm going to build this one in just a moment. Off camera, mainly because it involved just a lot of figuring out how client objects work. For example, this one, you need to spawn this push ball and then push these things back and forth in order to roll this down here to press the button. And when you press the button, it'll open this, and you can grab the key. When you complete all 3 challenges, you'll have the 3 keys, and then you'll be able to open the door, which I'm about to place here. Now, I think I have to make it be 3 separate doors. Like, I don't think I can make it so that one singular key door requires all 3 different keys. I can make it take any of 3 different keys if I give them all the same key ID, which is not what I'm going to do, because I want you to have to get all 3 of them. So let me position the key door like that, and then select Vanish, which is the door itself. Then just make it fill up that space, and then take the key hitbox and make that, like, match the size of that, like, there. Then I need to give it the key ID. This is how you, like, connect each key to each door. So what I called each one was the color of the key. So, for example, red, Petra key, because this is Petra and it's a key. The color of the door does not matter, so I'm just going to make it like, how about this color? And I'll make it universal as well. So now I should be able to duplicate the door and keep it in the same position, but change the key ID to be the key ID of the other key. Then do that one more time with the last key. So this door is here, and you can't go through that. Let's say you get 1 key. It should let you do that, but then it doesn't look like it did anything other than took away the key, because there's another one in that same exact position. But when you get the rest of the keys, it'll do that. Nice. So then, when you open the door, there will be this sign. It says, "Who is the best YouTuber in existence? Jump on the correct letters to spell out the answer." That'll make sense in a second. And just in case you don't happen to know, it tells you right there. Okay, so you know Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, the 3rd one? Because I'm about to give a slight spoiler for it. You can skip to this time if you want to skip this slight spoiler. Okay, so there's this one scene where he's in a building in Petra, and there's like tiles with letters on them, and he has to spell out the correct answer. That's basically what I'm going to be building here as an obscure illusion. So now I need to build like the actual puzzle that you're supposed to do, that the sign explains what you're supposed to do. So what's the size of this gap here? Oh, and by the way, if you fall here, it teleports you to here. I need to move the teleport location back. This space is 34 by 26, and the greatest common factor of those is 2, so it looks like I'm going to be doing 2 by 2 tiles. So I'm going to place a 2 by 2 part right there, and then change the text to be some letter. Let's just start with A. Maybe it should be a different text font, so it's a little easier to tell what it is. I mean, I want it to be this text font, preferably, because, like, this is supposed to be part of this building, instead of just, like, a different sign. Like, the signs that look like this are going to be across the whole tower, and they have been so far. These ones are specific to this area. I'll just go with antique font, or that's what it's called in Obby Creator. Here it's called, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Okay, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these and move them over here, and then just copy and paste each one, and then change the text to the next letter of the alphabet. And Z. There we go. Now I'm going to take this and move it over 100 studs. That should just make this a little bit easier to build without having to move the camera in between things a whole bunch. I'm going to start by placing the correct ones to spell out Roro Studios, like going in general that direction. Whoa, no way, all 3 of these letters are right next to each other. That makes life easier. Okay, if I drag to move, then I don't have to worry about how these are misaligned up there if I just drag to move. Studios, there we go. Something's not quite right. I think it's only the word studios. If I just do that, and then do that, and my move snap to grid is 2, that should line up properly. Okay, so this is going to be where you are supposed to jump. I mean, technically, you could skip a few letters if you wanted to. And I think I'm going to not use the letters R, O, S, T, U, D, I. Any of those letters, which is all the letters that are right here. That way, there aren't, like, letters that are in the words Roro Studios, but you're not supposed to jump on them. I mean, in theory, I could put an R, like, over here, because that's obviously wrong, because there's no R in this part of the word studios, or in the entire word studios. But still, I think it would just be better to not do that. Next thing I want to do is, I guess, another illusion, but more just funny Among Us. So we'll be, like, secretly hiding there if you look close enough. The problem is then there's an S and U right next to each other, so it'd be like you were supposed to go S, T, and then back to this same platform. I guess that's okay, though. Off of here, you can jump to D, I, O would need to be there. D, I, O, S. That should work. Now what I'm going to do is take all of them I've just placed and make them a random temporary color that's very different from this color. You'll see why I did that in a moment. But basically now I'm just going to take random letters and fill in the rest of the space here. But like I said, I wanted to not use any of the letters in the words Roro Studios. So to make it easier to not just like randomly select those, I'm just going to move them over here. So from any of these letters, I will select a random one and then place it into position. Alright, there, I'm done. Now what I want to do is select them all. What's the best way to do that? I'll select them like this, and then deselect everything I don't want selected, which would be those and the sides. Okay, I think I got them all. Let me set this to 100 and like move them over there. Did it move only these? It did. Okay, so undo. Now I've set them all to can collide false. And now the reason I made these blue was so that I could easily select them again and make them can collide true. Well, not the ones that spell Among Us. So I just set them to can collide true, the ones I have selected, which are ROROSTUDIOS. The remaining blue ones that I need to keep as can collide false, they're already set, but it's those ones, A, M, N, G. If I did all that right, you should be able to jump on these, but if you jump somewhere else, you'll fall through the floor. Now I can select one of these parts, copy the color RGB value, and select all these blue parts, and make them that color. Now it should be pretty clear where each tile is. I mean, you could just jump towards the letter, but I think it would look nice if I select in a checkerboard pattern. Glad I remembered this before I selected them all. Copy and paste the other color. Yeah, I think that'll look good. There we go. Now just copy and paste that color. Nice. I'll set snap to grid back to 100, and then select these that I moved earlier and put that back into position. With that, this should be ready. So you would jump to the R, then the O, R, that's a Q. Well, if you fall, that happens. S, T, U, D, I, O, S. And if you look closely, you'll see it says Among Us right there. But if you were to jump on not one of the correct letters, even if it is in the word Among Us, you'll fall through it like that. The next wonder of the world to build is the Colosseum in Italy, built in 80 AD. Like I said at the beginning of the video, this is the only wonder of the world that I've been to in person. If you look at this picture, you can see several arches creating a repeating pattern, which is helpful because that means I can copy and paste it. To make it round, I will place two arches on opposite sides of the circle and have them both selected when I rotate them, so they rotate around the center. Then I did some copy pasting again to create another layer of arches in the center, and then I removed some of the structure so that it would be partially destroyed like it is in real life. Finally, I added some parkour. Similar to the Great Wall of China, the gameplay will have invisible walls preventing you from taking obvious shortcuts. That takes us to Chichen Itza, another archaeological city like Petra. This one, however, is in Mexico. It was built by the Mayans. Generally, if you Google search Chichen Itza, you'll find a picture of a pyramid there, but that's not all that's there. There are also many other stone structures, which I'll build for this section, along with actual parkour. The sign tells you that some dude wants you to deliver this pizza to him. That's another obscure illusion, but this one I'm not going to explain. But what I will explain is that the pizza box is a key, and you use the key inside the pyramid to open an area with a teleporter to Machu Picchu. That's the next wonder of the world. It's an Incan citadel atop a mountain in Peru. If you don't know what the actual definition of a citadel is, it's a fortress typically on high ground protecting or dominating a city. Well, what I'm going to do for the gameplay here would be an if you fall you lose all your progress section, but there's plenty of that to come on the later floors of Tower of the Planets, so I'll go easy on you for now, and it'll just be a teleporter back to the start of the section. But the gameplay will be built later along with almost all of the actual structures, which are more stone structures, kind of like what will be built in Chichen Itza. Next up is the Taj Mahal in India. It's a mausoleum, which is a monument created as a burial chamber. Creating this building was basically just looking at a reference picture and building the same basic shapes. Once again, parkour coming soon. For now, you just need to walk into the building and step on the teleporter to the final wonder of the world, Christ the Redeemer. This is a statue in Brazil and is most similar of all the landmarks of this video to the Statue of Liberty from Steeple of New York Adventures. In real life, Christ the Redeemer is about half as tall as the Statue of Liberty counting the pedestals. If you don't count those, Christ the Redeemer is only a little shorter. However, I'll be building it at a much larger scale than I did the Statue of Liberty. I began the statue with the pedestal, then I built the feet, which I looked at Statue of Liberty as a reference of what those should look like. Then I built the lower section of the robe, adding additional parts for extra detail. I used wedges for the upper part of the robe, first at the bottom and also underneath the arms. The hands were pretty simple because they're being held straight out, and then lastly I built the head and added hair in the crown. Also, it's worth mentioning that I colored the upper robe and hair a slightly different color than everything else, just so it's easier to tell apart, but in real life they're the same color. As for the parkour of the section, it'll go upwards, similar to just a floor in a regular tower, and at some point you'll go across the top of the statue. That will take you to the end of the section and the end of floor 4. So yeah, that's a lot of work I need to do off camera, but I got the most important stuff of this floor built. Most of the landmarks themselves. With that, it's time to play the whole floor, start to finish. So, continuing the list of things I need to do off camera, well, first of all, there still needs to be the outside section between Mercury and Venus, and there also needs to be the outside section between Venus and Earth. I definitely didn't use no clip. I reached over here in like 2 seconds. Yeah. Anyway, this is how the Venus floor would end. I should probably add a button deactivator that deactivates this, but currently it teleports you here. Later it'll teleport you to the outside between Venus and Earth, the actual planets over there. Okay, I just put a button deactivator here. I set color specific to true and made it the same color as the invisible button with that timer back on floor 3. So what that should do is when you get to here, it should deactivate that timer. Yeah. Alright, good. The oldest of the 7 wonders of the world, the Great Wall of China, 700 BC, spans across Eastern Asia. It's about 1.3 tridecillion plank lengths long. What's a meter? So the arrow indicates you go this way. If you try to go this way, there is an invisible wall. So you gotta jump across these 1 studs, and by the way, if you fall, it'll just teleport you right back to here. You got a 10 stud wrap here, and then you gotta jump up this half stud thing, and another 10 stud wrap. Actually, it's lowered by a little bit, so it's should be easier, one would think. There we go. That was definitely the first try. And there's a couple hanging platforms here as well, but only these two, and the buttons are the only thing that aren't purist about this section. You gotta go onto here, and then you're supposed to do this, and you have a 2 stud climb up. Here you gotta jump and wrap around like that, and then go on top of the wedge. I think that's possible anyway. Yeah, it is. Okay, there we go. That definitely isn't, though. There we go. And then you need to jump to there, and then just sort of walk around off of here. The arrow tells you to go this way. Now you gotta find the button that opens this. You can just like walk across all these, but this is the button that will open it, right there. Again, another arrow indicating where to go. You got sort of a wraparound like that, especially that in first person, I guess. Here you need to jump up to that. Then you can hold WD and space for a bit to move over to the right. Then you can turn your camera like this a little bit, and then climb down, and then press space, and it should do that. Onto that hanging part, and you got this walk around, and then you have a ledge grab, so you want to go onto the side of here, do that, and a couple more jumps taking you to this teleporter to the next part. Welcome to Petra, 312 BC, the archaeological city in Jordan. Solve 3 puzzles in order to collect the keys to the final puzzle through this door. Okay, so I think this first puzzle, yeah, it's a little bit broken. It'll do that unless you like load into the game right near it. I don't feel like fixing that right now, so at the moment I'm just gonna move that out of the way so you can get to the key, and I'll add this temporary sign that says this puzzle is broken at the moment, just grab the key. Well, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to spawn this push ball, and you need to push these back and forth and roll this across here, and that will fall onto that button. It would make that thing disappear, and so you'd be able to get to the key, and then you can go to the next challenge, but you don't have to do these in any order. Press the buttons in the correct combination. So these are various morpher buttons. There's 3 that will activate something, and 3 that deactivate one of the other buttons. Yeah, so some of the buttons also deactivate others, but the correct combination is that one, and that one. And then you can grab the next key. Oh, I meant to put a truss here. I'll fix that in a minute. This final puzzle involves using the spinny thing in order to spin the spinnies. So first you want to get this to here, so you need to get the push box onto there. Be careful if you walk off of that you don't accidentally reset it. And you can push the platforms like themselves rather than using the spinny, but you're supposed to use the spinny, so yeah. Okay, then you want to do this, and then go back to the spinny, and spinny, and then do that. And you need to get the push box to here, and then you need to, without pushing it like against the wall and pushing this away here, and then the box will fall. That sounded kind of poetic, actually. Yeah, be careful you don't do that. If it seems to be moving away, it's probably best to just do that again. Bruh. Okay, I moved this half a stud lower, so hopefully that shouldn't be quite as annoying now. There we go. And it will press the button, similar to from the first challenge I did. And by the way, if the player jumps in here, there is a teleporter, which will just teleport you right there, so you won't get like soft locked or anything. Oh right, I forgot the key. Oh, and also when I fixed that, I also put a truss here so you can actually do that. But the button will open this up, and then you can grab the key, and now you can go to the door and get to the final challenge. Who is the best YouTuber in existence? Jump on the correct letters to spell out the answer. Over here it says Roro Studios, hint hint. So just look for those letters. R, O, R, secret letter unlocked. O, STUDIOS, and make sure to acknowledge the Among Us Easter egg right there. You've arrived at the Colosseum, 80 AD, an ancient Roman amphitheater located in Italy. This is the only of the 7 wonders of the world that I've been to in person. Your jump power is also decreased a little bit here, that way you can't just jump up here, which will kind of defeat the purpose of all this parkour. And yeah, there's some wraparounds. This is kind of a high jump right there, so do sort of the ladder flicking motion. Okay, pretend you can't jump onto that loose platform. You're supposed to jump to there, and then wrap around to here and go across this. Then you need to go this way. You can do a wraparound on only that side. Then here you gotta jump to here, and then ladder flick to here. Now you're supposed to do these loose platforms, which are like hanging from the ceiling above. And you're supposed to jump to there, go across the tightrope, and wrap around. And then you need to go this way and do some wraparounds right here. Not like that, though. Then there's these other arrows that are semi-temporarily here. Some of them may be removed. just telling me where the parkour is supposed to go, but it will eventually lead you to this teleporter. Here you are at Chichen Itza, 600 AD, a Mayan city in Mexico. Some dude wants you to deliver this pizza to him. I didn't really explain this earlier, but there's an Among Us right there, because it's supposed to be like the logo. This is Among Us Pizza from Among Us Pizzeria. There's no parkour at the moment, but whatever parkour is gonna be there later will lead you to that button, which will open this. And then you can go down here and you'd like deliver the pizza to me. Fun fact, if z is the radius of a pizza and a is the thickness, then the formula volume equals pizza will be true. Get it? Because pi r squared times height, because it's like a cylinder. So funny. Anyway, welcome to Machu Picchu, 1450 AD, an Incan citadel atop a mountain in Peru. Citadel, you know what that means. Time for some Citadel of the Infinite Abyss style gameplay. I would make falling end your run here, but I'll go easy on you for now. Falling teleports you back here. Actually, no it doesn't. If you fall, you get soft locked, actually, or you just use no clip. There will be a teleporter later though. There will also be parkour and more thingies later on. The Taj Mahal, 1643 AD, is located in India. It is a mausoleum, which is a monument created as a burial chamber. Oh, actually, I also need to add a lighting resetter here, because on this one, so that the mountainness is more mountainy, I added a fog end, and I want that to not be the case after that. Parkour coming soon, but for now just go into here and then step on this teleporter. Here we are at the final wonder of the world, Christ the Redeemer, 1931 AD, a statue located in Brazil. This is the end for the time being. Well, here's the statue, very epic. Parkour coming soon. And yeah, that's pretty much the end of the video. So hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to like and subscribe. And of course, you can always still comment questions for the 3,000 subscriber Q&A, which we're getting closer to with every video. But yeah, thanks for watching and have a great day.